Higher education is costly, and when thousands of dollars stand between you and a college degree, financial support is more important than ever. That's why families were frustrated with what some called a botched FAFSA process last year. In this story, I examine what went wrong with this application and where it stands today. A conversation with Bryce Griffin about his freshman year at Enterprise State Community College sparked memories of my college days. We found there was one thing we had in common, almost like a rite of passage.
It was definitely a challenging time due to a lot of the delays and a lot of the different challenges that people faced.
The dreaded process of filling out the free application for federal student aid, better known as FAFSA. The form helps students receive financial loans, grants, and determine work-study eligibility. Students like Bryce depend on this support to pursue a higher education.
It was a little bit more difficult.
The 2024 to 2025 FAFSA rolled out a new process, and it came with some issues.
The glitches that the website had itself. A lot of the wording that some of the questions had might have confused students or parents. There were login type issues with like parents creating IDs, and not to mention it was delayed also. So that kind of pushed back a lot of like the processing times and everything that we even had here.
Fed up parents look to colleges for a solution, while frustrated institutions look to the Department of Education. The DOE identified its shortcomings.
Wording that some of the questions had, glitches that the website had itself.
And put out a detailed plan of action to improve the FAFSA experience for the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
I will say that a lot of the technology glitches that we saw last year were not necessarily present for this one. Yay, it's working.
The revised application encourages consent to retrieve financial information, flashes an IRS transfer screen to alert users that their tax information is being added to the form, and other changes that provide overall clarity to applicants like Griffin. His advice to students?
Just always fill it out and just take it one step at a time, and just be patient with it.
The 2025 to 2026 form launched early and is now open to applicants. It's a sign that this time around will be better for everyone. ESCC encourages all students to take advantage of financial support by submitting a FAFSA form to see what loans, grants, and other work studies that students qualify for.